welcome to another instalment, and today I'm doing a spot of muck spreading. So I hope you can hear me alright. This is pretty much the first time I've had a camera in manitou properly, or at least facing forward. Sounds all a little bit echoey to me, but yes, so I just thought you've seen the muck spreading video before. Obviously I'm still going to try and take you through the things that I do through the year, so I'm doing a little bit now, but we're not having a big push yet. We're plenty far enough in front with the sort of preparation work, so it's just me today. So unfortunately today, because I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to be doing, if I was going to be making a video or not, I've not got a magnet mount with me, so I can't mount it on the outside of the manitou, so we could have a look at that. So the only place I can perch you is there, unfortunately, and it's a bit close for comfort. I like the camera a little bit further away normally and a bit higher up to hide these double chins I've accumulated now I'm past 30. So this is the rig. I just thought I'd show you the rig. So it's obviously on the 240. Got the Philip Watkins front weight block on the front. I've got half a field attached to the tractor. And this is the spreader. It's a Bunning Lowlander Mark IV 120 HBD. And they're a good spreader. They're a good spreader. Nice. And this is the spinners I was on about. This is where everything comes out. They rotate really fast and they've got these sort of deflector plates, these things that's what hits the manure and whoosh, cast it out the side, and these tend to sort of obliterate the manure as well, make it into really small bits. See, there's not many big old lumps that come out of it. As you can see, I'm not overly impressed with the state of the 240. In fact, I feel sick and I cannot look at it. Can't look. Oh. Yeah, right then, we are in the field. And we'll spread a bit of muck about. Hey! Well, like I said in the last muck spreading video, us chaps when we're out in the field spreading muck, it's not just a willy-nilly affair. It's not just, you know, throw it out the back and hope for the best sort of thing. It is regulated. We can only put so much down, and I have a set rate to stick to, and we have plenty of information about how much is in the spreader, the weight of the actual material, things like that. Loads and loads of stuff, so we know how much we need to put on. Because we can't just spread it about willy-nilly. Like I said, it's a controlled thing. It's something that has to be done right. So I'm down my next run, and at the minute I'm getting one spreader length per length of the field. But in order to achieve that, I've got to have a few settings on back. So first setting that I've got is me gate, the door at the back, the big door that lifts up and down. Now on these bunning spreaders, on this one in particular, there's a gauge. There's a gauge that says from 1 to 2, and it's got a little arrow. 1 to 2, 1 to 10, and number 10 is the door all the way up. Number 1 is it shut right down. So for me, after a bit of trial and error and getting it set up, with this chicken muck in this field, for this rate, I'm setting it at number 5. So I'm opening the gate sort of halfway. The chain on the bottom isn't quite flat out, it's just backed off a little bit. So the chain which carries the material towards the back of the spreader. This sort of spreader is a spinner as well. Instead of having big beaters at the back, big rotors, it's got spinners on the bottom. So, and my forward speed, I'm doing about 10k with a forward speed. So let's do it. So I'll turn my PTO on at first. So it's 1000 speed PTO. So I'll turn the PTO on down there, so that's got everything spinning. I'll open my door to number 5. Well, that's open to number 5. I'll put my first stage of revs on. Yeah, so that's revved up about halfway. Now I'll put full revs on to 1000. Right, so now we're at full speed. Then I'll press my number 2 spool to engage the chain on the floor to carry the material towards the back. So I'll sit, just wait for a second until it comes out. Yeah, it's coming out. And now I've got my forward speed set on my screen, so all I do with my multi-controller, I push it right away forward, and that'll go to 10k and stay at 10k as we move up the field. So I know now, after doing this, you know, I've done half of this field now, when I get to the very, very top of this field, the spreader will be practically empty. So I'll just grab you. And this is my view out the back. Sorry if the camera's wobbling around a bit. It's hard to keep it steady. I'd like to turn my arm into a gimbal if I could, but I can't. But yeah, so that's my view basically. You can see the manure being spread out the sides. I can see into the spreader, so I can see the material being moved backwards. Because it's a very it's been a cold day. It was really cold this morning. There's black ice everywhere, and you can see the steam, because obviously the manure's been composting and decomposing. It's warm, and you can see as it comes out the spreader, it's just creating clouds. It's like a fog. It looks quite pretty, but it doesn't smell very pretty. We're just going to edge it field now, full length, and the spreader's practically run out. Go, so I'll just flick the discharge belt off the chain, the big thing on the floor. Just engage my steering again, and we just spit the last little bit out, so there really ain't a lot left. Right, so we'll get another load on. Look at that, the sun's come out and the ground is smoking. Obviously it's just steam, but that looks quite pretty, I thought. Don't smell too pleasant though. And here is the Manitou, and it's in dire need of a clean. It's the MLT 635 130 PS Plus. And this is the elite model, so this is like the top spec model. And again, I just really like them. they're a good all-round machine. They're refined. There's nothing on them that's basic. They're a refined telehandler, and there's been Manitous on this farm for a long time, and I wasn't a fan of the early ones, to be perfectly honest. They weren't like they are now. This is a proper tool. Right, so let's get going. Let's get going. Start her up. I want to put her in bucket mode, which is this button here. That's bucket mode on. And brake off. And I also want it in second gear, but we're in third at the minute. So I'm going to use this little plus and minus down here, so I'm just going to press and hold that. And we're in second. Now we're ready to get some loads. Get some loads with a Z. Well, look at that. Composted it is, look. Poof! Puff of black smoke. What can I talk about while we're loading this? Well, buckets. So buckets are an interesting one. Now, shake that off a little bit, and in the words of Taylor Swift, shake it off. Yeah, did well writing that one. Must have took her a while. Yeah, buckets. But again, this isn't, again, like I always say, this is just saying things that how I do it. I'm not trying to say this is the way you should do it, and I'm not trying to say it's right or it's wrong or it's whatever. You all know now. You've all followed me for long enough. With buckets, you have to be very careful with a bucket, because they have either a tendency to want to dig into the floor, or a tendency to build a ramp, depending on how you get it angled. Now, a bucket always wants to be, you know, at 90 degrees. It always wants to be sort of parallel to the ground that you're working on. Loading shovels generally have a return to dig function on them, which means you flick the joystick to one side, and it'll spring back once it's crowded the bucket round to level. So when you drop back into the heap, the bucket is level. And the last loading shovel I drove, it was done by like magnetic sensors on the ram, or the ram or rams for the bucket crowd. But you don't have that on telehandlers, or at least I've never driven one that's got that function. On this bucket, some of them don't, but this has got a flat top, and that's generally parallel to the cutting edge of the bucket. So if that's level, then you sort of know you're roughly in the right place. So if it's just a couple of degrees down, you'll end up digging a hole, and if it's angled up slightly like that, you'll end up just pushing into the heap, and it makes it really hard work to fill your bucket. And you'll end up just creating a ramp and creating a ramp. So there's a real fine line between getting it right and getting it wrong. It's only literally a matter of like a couple of degrees, and it's something to, if you've never done anything with a bucket before, it's certainly something to watch out for. You know, always try, and even if it takes you quite a while to get used to it, just go steady. Don't go charging into the heap with your bucket wherever, because you will make a bit of a mess. A bit of a Taylor Swift again. Take that off. Yeah, like that. Like I said earlier on, the old boy. That old boy once told me that, because I used to work in the plant industry. Once told me to look after your corners. If you're ever moving stuff from a heap, look after your corners, and the middle will look after itself. And it is true. It does work. Looking after your edges, keeping your edges tidy, it just keeps the heap narrow. You're not spreading it about. Because if you just went from the middle, the further down the heap you got, the more you'd be spreading it about, the wider it'd get. And it's just it's one of those things. It always stuck with me. Just a piece of advice that always stuck with me. And to be fair, whenever anybody gives me any advice, it sticks, because I do take advice. I don't pretend I know everything. I don't sit there and think, no, I know everything. I know how to do that. That's not how I'm going to do it. So you can maybe say I am spilling a bit over the edge of the spreader, which is perfectly fine, because I like to get a decent load on, and I sort of tidy up as I go along. Just shove the little bits that come over the edge, just shove them back into the heap as I work my way down the heap. And because I'm only in the field over there, I've got to just cross one of our sort of rough tracks. It's not the same as going down the road. If I were going down the road, obviously, then it wouldn't be like that. But you don't really want to go down the road with a full spreader, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, so leave that there ready for the next one. Right, so thank you all for watching. I've nearly finished this field now, so the next job will be to come in here with the Fendt 1050 and work this muck in. So yeah, I might see you then. Alright guys, see you in a bit.